Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning, this is the Wednesday edition Morning Digest, and this is Elevate Television and Advancing Kingdom Lifestyle, and this is our wonderful edition on Wednesday that we take up opportunities and things that will enhance and build our lives. And today we have a great topic. We have been discussing the opportunity of peace. They say that peace is a full-time job, and you have to work it. Peace has to be worked by men and women, and you have to desire peace. As a matter of fact, the scripture will say in Matthew chapter number 5 verse 9 that blessed are peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. And today, before we begin, we know the drill. The link is already out. So it's already out. Those of you who have not liked the Elevate page, please like it. It's already out today. The link is already out. There you go. Pick it up, and post it. Post it on your Facebook page. Post it on your WhatsApp groups and invite your friends. And those of you on Elevate Television, you can pick it up and send it over to others who are in your friends groups and in your networks as we begin the day and begin to walk through. I'm giving you a chance. Please do that. Remember, that's our drill. And as you do that, I want to tell you that we have a great guest today, Sahlim Charles, Executive Director, Reimagining New Communities. Reimagining New Communities. And he will be here with us, and he's already here, ready for today's interview and today's program. Thank you for those who have already sent, and those of you who have already shared. Mine is shared already. Sahlim.
Yes.
Karibu Elevate.
Asante.
This is Elevate TV. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Sahlim Charles. I'm an active Kenyan citizen and a peace trainer. And I work mostly in terms of supporting communities as a community organizer. And I have so much interest when it comes to peace building and having a peaceful society. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you, Moses, for inviting me.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You never told my viewers that you're also a member of the Kenya Christian Professionals.
Yes, I'm a member of a Kenya Christian Professional Forum, and it's a great forum for Christians and believers to be able to engage in matters, governance, and just promotion of good citizenship in our country. So I'm a proud member of the forum.
Yeah, I was given very good accolades of yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
As we begin, because we are going to get into this conversation. Yeah. What does your organization do?
Great. So my organization, Reimagining New Communities, it's a forum. We facilitate conversations around peace building, around community organizing. So we bring communities together to be able to talk about their own issues. And we use this approach mostly when it comes, bottom-up approach. And bottom-up approach means that people come up with their own.
We need to put a disclaimer.
Exactly, that's what I wanted to say.
there's a disclaimer. We are not here to promote any movement.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but for this, what it means is that communities talk about their own issues and come up with their own problems. Most of the time, people talk about, we have insecurity issues for example, in our neighborhood, and then they say serikali saidia. But for us, the approach is, so you have identified that you have security problems in your neighborhood. So what are the solutions? Yeah. So we help them to be able to find those kind of solutions. They will be able to help them to come together, and we use this through participatory approach and dialogue and just community organizing. So That's what Reemerging New Communities do, and we collaborate mostly with organizations, religious organizations, community organizations, non-profit organizations, in the areas of peace, peace building. We run a program called Children-Led Community Peace Labs, where we train children on how to become young peace builders. And this we did because when you look at the 2007 election, post-election violence, most of the people that suffered are women and children. And children mostly because they did not have anywhere to run to. You know, if you are, let's say, for example, your parents live in Korogosho, so if there is war in Korogosho, you cannot move from there. And so many of them, you know, they developed, you know, trauma, they developed a lot of things. So many of them grew up knowing that the only way to life is violence, because that's what they've been used to, you know, the life in the slums, the life in these violent communities. And so what we are trying to do is how can these children become agents of change through peace building? And we use very creative ways. We use film, we use photography, we use art, we use painting, writing and storytelling.
We're going to come there. And there's something you say that I want us to go back to, where you say the communities come up with their own solutions.
Yes.
So literally, communities have the solutions.
Exactly.
They know their solutions.
Yes. The problem has always been the platform.
Yeah.
You know, when people, for example, when I come to your house and you complain about something, and then I tell you, but can you try this? Can you just move this table this side? Then you realize, oh, all along I've been having a leaking roof. But this table has kind of supported me, helped me in one way or another. So we help communities to be able to identify that solution they have instead of looking for outside. Because most of the time, when you wait for the outside world or the politicians or the government or other civil society to come, the kind of solution that they'll subscribe to, prescribe to you, will not be the same thing that you want, and it might be not long lasting, because they will come and they will come with their own demands, you know, and their own criteria.
Amazing.
Yes, but when you say, let's come together, that is, you know, there is ownership, there is sustainability. And people will be able to say, this is our own. So even when someone, for example, wants to bring that project down, they'll say, no, this is our own project. And look at all the projects that have been community-led. They are very sustainable.
You know, when you just mentioned projects, one time somebody was seated where you're seated, and she said something that was revolutionary. She said, why do government projects fail? It's because they are never people.
Yes.
Actually, they are not brought from the people.
Exactly.
Because the people know what they need, like you have just said. I think that's one of the most takeaways. So those of you write for me online, please write that down. People know their solutions.
Yes.
So if the project comes in and it's not people-driven, it's not from the people, because you can't come and give us electricity when we need water.
Exactly.
I think we'll tell you, no, we need water. We know why we are talking about water.
Yes.
And so when we get water, that is a project we'll protect, we'll sustain, we'll take care of.
Yes.
But when you give us something we don't even care about, so you find it's money that has gone away.
Yes.
There's something we're going to get into about peace, and as much as you mentioned Korogosho, there's where people are born and all they are forced to see is violence. Does that build a violent community? Or what happens to those kind of people? Because, like you just said, in the post-election violence, I remember Korogosho was quite a hotspot.
Yes.
It was quite a hotspot. And those images, you talked about trauma, you talked about, you know, young people thinking that's a way forward.
Yeah.
How do you get into such communities?
So when, and you have rightly said it, you know, when you grow up knowing that the only way is violence, it becomes very difficult for, you know, to think about something else. Because, you know, for me to get a meal, I have to, for example, go and mug someone.
Wow.
For me to do this, I have to cause this. Or for anything that happens in the community, you know, there must not be any kind of solution. So even a small quarrel must lead to violence. And so what we do mostly, and some of the kind of work that we do is we work through schools. and organized groups, because we realize that even with the children, that schools is a very good entry to the community.
Yeah. Yes,
So when, for example, we go to a school, right now we partner with around 6 schools across the slums. And so we know when you go through the schools and we talk to the children, we talk to the teachers, now these children, they will be able to take the message to their parents.
Yes.
They'll be able to take the message to the community and say, oh, there is this organization or these people who are doing, or who gave us books, or who are talking about peace. So people will start getting interested. But the other thing is, and this we did it from between 2017 to 2019. Just coming up and identifying different groups working in these communities, and we bring them together.
Yeah.
We did something called Youth Advancing Peace Building through Participatory Action Research, and this was we did it in 3 counties: Nairobi, Kisumu, and Mombasa. And mostly our focus was that Mombasa come together, they talk about their own issues. So we didn't have like, this is what you guys need to talk about.
Yeah.
Nairobi come together, they talk about their own issue, and Kisumu. And even within Nairobi, we had like 5 slums. And the issues that were coming from this community are all different.
Same county,
same
different slums,
Islands, but different stories. Different stories.
Amazing.
But now we looked at the cross-cutting themes. Like, what exactly are these people talking about? And you realize that the most key thing was governance. And so when you bring these people together, then they are able to talk. And we don't say, oh, we want to bring a teacher. No, we bring all community members, regardless of whether you're educated, uneducated, whether you know, anything that you have, whether you're in gang groups or anything. And we have been able to see people reforming.
Wow. Let me ask you, how long have you been doing this? You seem to to be born in this thing.
No, I think immediately after I finished high school, before I joined college, before I started doing other things, I was introduced to community development by my own mentor, is Rafael Obonyo. And so we started community media center in Kariobangi called K-Youth Media. And so through that, I started developing.
You need to greet Rafael. He's a good man.
I know. I have to. He's a great man. He really opened a lot of opportunities for me, just to think about how to transform this how to transform our country.
Let me tell you something. Because we're going to get into the election now.
Yes.
And we are actually at the heartbeat now. They have started the presidential debates.
Yes.
Now that the elections are on, the campaigns are on, because I will ask, there's something I began to see in the slums. How has been your work been affected?
A lot. I'll say, election, we are still a growing democracy.
Yes.
And sometimes our election or the way our communities are designed, they're influenced by the election. Previously we have been talking about tribalism, but our election have moved from tribalism into class wars. That, for example, when you have a car, and when someone wants to wash it, and maybe you are somewhere in those slums and you refuse, someone will call you a dynasty, and that is intolerance. And so our work has been mostly affected by the intolerance, and also just people not being able to understand what exactly they need to stand for. For example, how they need to do the work, and how they need to be able to take the leaders or the politician, just to ask a politician, what do you have for us as a community?
There's a slum I'll not mention. They actually said, we want our MCA from here.
Yes.
We don't want to be brought a guy.
Exactly.
So they went to one of their people who they feel is a good leader. They've asked him to vie, and they said, we will support you.
Yes.
And that is, I think, is a result of people solutions.
Yes, exactly.
That are coming from the people.
Yes.
And we need to encourage that, because I think we have what we call boardroom solutions that have become quite. And I think that's where the challenge always is.
Yes.
When people, when people sit down in a boardroom and decide that those guys, what they need is more policemen.
Yes.
But maybe actually these people can take care of themselves.
Exactly.
And you found when they've been, you go to when they have those kind of organizations, they take care of their own security. They actually, you are told some of those places are the safest. And I was telling somebody, there's a slum I would go. I told the guy, now that's one of the safest places.
Yes.
He said, no, you are joking. I don't know. Don't believe what you read. Because actually most of the places, because I happened to, when in my school days, I happened to be a lot in those areas. There were strange places, but it's because of that kind of upbringing. But now today, they have solutions of themselves. They have security. They can tell, no, that's a thief, so they come and get him out.
Yes, exactly.
And actually, they are reforming their own. You find a lot of organizations by locals.
Yes.
And so I think that's where now you are encouraging that.
Yeah.
We are going to go into politics now, and I want to ask you something. We've seen scenes of violence in some of the parts of these campaigns. In your view and in your experience from where you work, because there are things you know by experience.
Yeah.
Do you think most of this violence is from the people?
No. And no, what I mean is we have so many organizations that have been helping, with peace messages. And, we are led by the National Commission of Integration, National Cohesion and Integration Commission. And there are a lot of peace messages. And I will tell you, there is no community that people will just wake up and come and disrupt a political rally. Nowhere. And some of these actions, they want to portray some communities or some sections of the country as violent, which defeats the message of peace during election, because politicians and everyone who wants to vie for a political office need to understand that when you pit people against each other, then that is a recipe for violence. When the words that you utter, the kind of action, even just the way you just move into a community when you're doing the rallies, when the way you drive, the way you move around, you see there is a lot of violence, because you need to be able to connect with the people. And most of our leaders do not connect with the people. And some of these people, and I will tell you, I know of people that are some in our programs and some that I interact with, that are even ferried to these rallies. Someone comes from this side to that side. So when you go to that side, and you have instruction that when this one starts speaking, you need to do this. So at the end of the day, when you are not knowledgeable, and those who watch on TV, and they will say, this community is very violent, they didn't want this politician. But when you start getting to know, you will find that these people, they don't belong here. And that's why we need people to be able to identify who they are. You need to identify everybody. And like you said, those, organized security teams, anywhere that you go, even where you live, people know that so and so anakuanga mwizi.
Actually, it's an amazing thing you just said there. Everywhere you stay, people know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They may not be talking, but they know that man is a thief.
Yes.
Or that man is a crooked guy.
Yes.
The way he moves, the way he works his house. You discover this man is not the way he is. Now, a question. When you said about, because my worry is this, these people have been together for so long, they live together, they actually live, not neighbors. I grew up in one of those, in such a cosmopolitan place where you did not even know a guy is Luo, or he is Kalenjin, or he is Kamba, or he is Taita, or everybody is just there. But in election time, you begin to be told you are this.
Yes.
Is it our problem? Where does this thing come from? Because you discover.
Yes.
Check your friends around, all your friends. You discover, if you're like me, I don't have tribal friends. In terms of, it's not that I choose, you find I befriend anyone. But when it comes to election, what happens to us?
I think it's the issue of, being mature. It's the issue of maturity. Because, and this happens a lot, even, there are people I've known for so long, maybe just because we support the same team. You call someone, ule ni jamu Arsenal, jamu FC, jamu Angola. You'll never know the name of this guy until maybe now election comes, and then you realize, oh, kumbe, this guy is from this tribe. And then you realize, why do you support this? And, the kind of messaging also, when people, and like I said, when you are pit against someone else, then you start looking at that person differently. So it's the issue of maturity. It's the issue of being conscious of who we are. That, you are first, and people mostly say that, you are first this tribe before you become a Kenyan. But I always disagree. I'm first Kenyan before I'm realize, oh, kumba, I come from this region, because I start learning that language. But I'm born in Kenya. I become a Kenyan citizen first, because when my birth certificate is written Kenyan. So, and then I'm trained to be this tribe. I'm trained to start speaking that language. So we need to be able to, promote what we call cohesion within our communities. We need to promote cohesion even in churches. We need to promote cohesion in business places. We need people to be able to be free.
I believe what you say, cohesion in every place.
Yes.
Workplace, religious places, churches, mosques.
Yeah, religious places, sorry, not this. Yeah.
And, schools.
Yes.
Because these are the places where, look at school. We live with everyone.
Yes.
Look at college. We lived, ate, drank, dressed the same.
Yes.
But when elections came, in fact, in college, we even used to have what you call union elections.
Yes.
Nobody went tribal.
Exactly.
Nobody. But when you come out here, I don't know what happens. And the first task I'll give you, I want you to look at that camera, and I want you to talk to these guys and tell them, we are first Kenyans.
Fellow Kenyans, I need you to know one thing and realize that, before you are told that you belong to tribe A or B or C, you're first Kenyan. And when you go out of this country, that's when you realize that you are more Kenyan than tribe A or B. And so anywhere that you are, be it in a religious place, be it in school, be it in workplace, anywhere, be it on the road, in matatu, in the supermarket, you need to know that that person you are looking at is Kenyan just like you. And being a peaceful Kenya is the most important thing. And love, just acknowledging that these differences actually make us unique. We have more than 42 tribes. And these 42 tribes, and being a very cultural person, should be able to unite us, should be able to make us embrace each other. So no one should tell you that this tribe or that tribe or this class is superior than the other. So you belong to this country as a citizen.
Wonderful. We are going to go for a break. But before we do that, I want to ask this question. Who is a peace ambassador? Peace, they say peace is like security.
Yes.
It begins with you.
Yes.
You cannot expect it from out there.
Yes.
How, who is a peace ambassador?
So from the two words,
Yes.
Peace and ambassador, you know the work of an ambassador and you know what peace means. And so just in simple terms, peace ambassador is someone who have decided that my work shall be to promote peace.
Wow. And we need everyone in that task.
Exactly. It's not subscribed for a specific group. It's everyone. So in whatever work that you do, even if you're a shoe shiner, when someone comes there to shine their shoes, you need to be able to start talking about peace.
There's a day, you've just talked about a shoe shiner. I was shining my shoes somewhere in the city. I tell you. And it was a few weeks ago. Somebody wanted to beat me up. He just came up and I made a comment. The way they were talking. I don't know why people take politics at the shoe shiner,
Yes.
at the barber shop.
Yes. And those news vendors.
Yes. So I was shining my shoe. He came, started saying that. I was reading a paper, so he made a comment, made another comment. So I decided to answer him and tell him, I'm not interested,
In this, yeah.
in whoever wins.
Yes.
I have one vote. That's all I have. So
Yeah.
please. I became violent.
Wow.
So I said, I think we have a challenge of sobriety. And he was an old man. He was not a young man. He was an old man. So you can imagine what do you think about our emotions when it comes to politics? Do we take it too far?
We do. And this mostly is comes with, what we have had before. Because our emotions, our politics have been very overcharged. And so any small thing, I always say, as much as I'm a peace, I'm a peace ambassador, I talk about peace and we want to have a peaceful country, Kenya is not yet peaceful, because you realize any small discussion, like what you just had, it explodes.
Escalates,
Yeah, it escalates to something else. And so we still have to deal with, the trauma that we have. And also, some of these are also because of what we go through in our families. We have a lot of unsettlements in our families. We have, gender-based violence in our families. We have domestic violence. We have people going through so much. One of our participants in our youth-led peace, the children-led community peace lab, because we have trained around 20 students so far, primary people. And when they came in, one of the students, he was not even talking for a whole month. And then now when we started bringing in storytellers and stuff, this child stood up and said, "This is the only place that I've been given a space to talk. Wow. When my father comes home, the first thing, the greeting that he has is a slap. He beats me for no reason." And so you can imagine anything that will be said to this child, even in school, for example, whatever. And anything, it might not even be intentional, but it just awakens the slap from his father, or just like even a mother, where she has come from the family. So we have so much that we need to deal with. Gender-based violence, we need to deal with a lot of that. We need to deal with even violence at workplaces. We need to deal with violence in the religious spaces, so that people can be able to start, the healing starts there. So that when someone, for example, talks about presidential candidate A and you are for B, you just laugh and say, "You guys continue with your politics."
You've said something that is very, very scary. That a child in this century
Yes.
is getting a space outside their home. I think I have to commend you for those labs you take in the schools. Is it an area we are forgetting? Is it an area we are ignoring, the school and the children?
No, there are people who are working in that area, but the issue is how do you bring these children on the table? Because most of the time we speak to the children, we don't speak with them. And we forget that, even the people that we call violent, the adults that are involved, in robbery and other things, I want you to know that they were once children.
Yes.
And so when you bring these children on the table, you start speaking with them, you start telling them, you start helping them understand, not speaking to them. You don't speak to the child, stop being violent. No, you have to bring them on the table, you start helping them. And also, you need them to be able to talk. You need them to be able to say, I think, yes, we are talking about peace building, but can we focus also on this? We are talking about this, and that's what we have been able to do through your children-led community peace labs. So we bring them together. We even bring them with their teachers through this program. And some of the teachers even said, I've never seen these people talking in class. I've never seen this. And since this program, they have improved. These kids have actually established CCP labs in their schools now. And even we have a document I'll be sharing with you.
CCP.
Yes,
what is CCP?
Children-led community peace lab. So, and it's very unique.
What we will do, I want to promise you something, Charles.
Yes.
We'll work together.
Thank you.
Anyone who touches on children is dear to Elevate.
Thank you.
Because one time, let me give you a story before we go for a break. A man was doing something in one of the slums. And then he noticed an elderly man observing him. He was trying to do a certain campaign. Then he called him. He told him, "Young man, what you're doing is very good." But then he showed him. He said, "You see those children? These children, in the next 15 years, there will be the thieves in this region. There will be the robbers in this region.
Yes.
There will be the prostitutes in this region. So he asked them, what do you have for them? Leave these ones alone. What do you have for them? And that man tells us, he changed his focus completely to the children.
Yeah.
Because we never see them 10 years.
Yes, exactly.
5 years. Because those children who in 10 years will not be the same.
Completely.
Because if they have grown up seeing thugs, there will be better thugs. If they've grown up seeing prostitutes, there will be better prostitutes. If they've grown up seeing violence, there will be better in violence.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is a great job. I have to commend you for going through the children. We're going to go for a break now. Our break is just coming through. And before we go for a break, what is the best approach at this time of politics? You just mention one, then you go for a break.
Approach in terms of
peace at such a time of politics.
Yeah.
I mean, emotions are the way they are. What would be, in your opinion, the best approach?
For me, and for someone who works in the peace sector, the best approach, or what I'll recommend, is don't carry someone else's burden. So you know what you want. So don't listen to someone and take that as your own problem. So don't carry other people's baggage. So you know this is what you need in your own sector. So if you are a religious leader, you know what you require. So do not go and start looking at, because that's what have been affecting a lot of us. That we want to carry grudges of other people, we want to feel this, or we want, because this happened to this politician, we want to be able to carry their burden. No, let politicians carry their burden, let you as a citizen carry your own burden. And that way, you'll be able, like you said about sobriety, you'll be able to judge people based on what they're bringing to you.
Imagine, what you've just said, don't carry somebody's burden. You don't know what he has done.
Exactly.
Because now they are saying, give us our thief. Give us, somebody has integrity. One has already failed.
Yeah.
The integrity test. Yet, the people say we don't mind. But that's for another day.
Yeah.
What about propaganda? What is propaganda doing? Because the opportunity we are going to be talking after the break is the opportunities that we are going to pick.
Yeah.
So hold it there. I mean, the matter of that, and then we pick it up from there, and then how we are going to build. Because when you leave here, you must recruit.
I will.
We go for a break. This has been the Morning Digest. Keep it elevated.
My name is Apostle David Juma. I host the Encourage a Pastor program.
God wants the church to operate fully in the supernatural.
Who is ministering to the leaders.
And he said, son, this is going to kill you.
Oh my God.
Because I want to take you places only dead men can walk.
At one point in my house, I just switched off. Najua ile watu wanasema kuhani.
And this show deals with different subjects and matters and issues that concern the pastors and church leaders.
If you receive a prophetic word, the first thing is go back to God.
God values you in the office he has called you to.
So if you're an apostle all the way to a Bible teacher, evangelist, or a prophet, this is your show.
God who began the good work in you, he will be faithful to bring it to completion.
Every Saturday night at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, you will be impacted.
Welcome back. We are on the Morning Digest and we are discussing the matter of peace ambassadors and the opportunity that you and I can play in this time of elections and become peace ambassadors. The famous Albert Einstein one time said, peace cannot be kept by force, but it can only be achieved by understanding. When people understand their community, understand their challenges, and understand where they are, they'll keep peace. And today we are here with Charles. I mean, this man is well versed in this sector. He's been in the sector for quite a number of years. And one of the things I like about Charles, and I have to say about it, Charles, is that you are so community focused. You know, you're not a boardroom guy. I mean, I want us now to shift. You've been talking about, you know, the propaganda aspect, where people just hear propaganda and take it as truth and run with it quickly, because we need to move from there. What do you have to tell someone? I mean, this is propaganda, and you don't have to take it for gospel truth.
First of all, I'll say that, you know, it's very difficult to differentiate between propaganda and truth, because we don't have proper mechanism, and there are, you know, different organizations trying to help in identifying propaganda in this, because even when you go to, you know, low-income communities and whatever they are told, they take it. You know, they say, ule jamani mwizi, tuliambiwa no, we not vote for. But the truth is that person, and we have seen so many good people not being voted in because of what it was said about them. So many times, you know, from the MCA up to the presidency. And so we need to be able to bring different stakeholders together to help people understand that this is propaganda and this is not propaganda. And I like what Media Observers of Kenya does. So whatever you say, for example, in media, they go and just, you know, fact check, is this true or not? And I've been doing that with the presidential, with the, you know, running mate and all these other debates. So we need to be able to have a fact check in every area, you know, in every sector. Even, you know, I always say, even in religious places, because the days of, you know, being all through spiritual is over. You need to be able to tell people, how do you identify when you're being lied to? How do you identify when this is not working out? And so as much as you have to preach the gospel of Jesus and the gospel of Muhammad and all this, you need to be able to have time to tell people, guys, in my own opinion as so-and-so, I think you need to be conscious about propaganda.
It's true.
Yes.
And I think truth must be told.
Exactly.
Even in every sector.
Yes.
I think even in the church, we have there are parameters where we know this is truth, this is not truth, because there is that error aspect.
Yes.
Now, peace ambassadors. We say that everyone must be a peace ambassador. And being a peace ambassador, what are the clear signs that in this place there is trouble?
Clear signs. One is the intolerance. So you need to be able to look at the intolerance. Two is people not, you know, just coming together, you know, when there is something. Three is when there is, you know, kind of, because this intolerance brings instability.
Yes.
So the biggest thing actually I'll say is the intolerance. That people from, you know, you'll be able, and the sections, you'll be able to see, and there are communities maybe where you have gone and you are told that this section belongs to tribe something, this section goes to tribe. And I'll say that is intolerance, because people need to be able to mingle, people need to be able to live across, and so not to be identified with which or that. So yeah, that is the biggest sign that you'll be able to see. Intolerance.
And I think we've seen it.
Yes.
We've seen it quite big. And I think one time I was somewhere and I was trying, you know, the way you go and look for someone. Say, I'm looking for this gentleman. His name is so and so. He's a tall guy. They say, you Jama. They actually mention a tribe.
Yeah.
So out of, because you need to see the gentleman,
yes,
you say yes, but you see that level of mindset. I think we need to move from that to just identifying each other. This is my brother.
Yeah,
you know, interesting enough, when you go out of the nation, people don't carry tribe, they carry nationality.
Yes.
So if you meet a Kenyan in the streets of another city, you are so happy. this is a Kenyan
It
man.
has happened to me so many times.
This is a Kenyan man, and you feel this is your brother.
Yeah.
But when we land,
Until you learn and then you realize, okay.
is it territorial? You know, those signs are very key. Intolerance. I think intolerance is very key.
Yeah,
Now,
and also the other thing is, you know, there are communities that have gatekeepers. So that's also another sign that, you know, before you do this, you have to see so and so and so and so and so. And those are kind of groups. So we have gatekeepers, and that shows, because I'm a Kenyan, I need to go in any community freely. I need to do anything. So if I want to go to Kilelesho, if I want to go to Mukuru Kwanjenga, I should not, you know, have contacted a gatekeeper so that takes me around. And, you know,
it's a very interesting phenomenon around here. And even business, you can't do some certain business without going to the so-called gatekeepers. Are they the same ones that we call cartels? Maybe another day. That's for another day. We are talking about peace ambassadors.
Yes.
The other thing I want to ask you, now that I've noticed is this intolerance and the way, you know, we are not coming together. So does that mean the work of a peace ambassador is cut out? The moment you just notice this is what's happening.
No.
And from you know, you do training a lot. You can do a 3-minute or 2-minute training. You've noticed this, so what should I do?
Yes. So you have noticed that this is the problem in this community. So one of the things you need to do is identify one thing that unites these people, because there is always one thing that unites them. So identify this one thing that unites them. 2, identify the history of this community. Know about this community. So when you go there, you even know which is the first tribe that came there and how they live. Know about, you know, the history of violence, the history of peace, and all this, because you can only solve or help these people solve their issues when you identify with them. So that's the first thing. So you need to know the history. You need to know what unites them, or what is that unique thing that unites them. You need to know who are the stakeholders in this community. Yes, you need to know who you are talking to so that you know how to address them. So that is very key.
Actually, you know, that is one of the key strategies.
Yes.
Because you cannot just come and start talking on the streets.
Yes.
They won't listen to you, but there are those stakeholders. Are they the same gatekeepers?
No, they're not the same gatekeepers. And then the last level, as you know the stakeholders, you need to know the language that you use.
Yes.
So the language that I'll use with you is not the same language I'll use with the other person.
Yes.
Of course, it might be the same thing, but the way you know, even today there is a new shame, maybe that you grew up not knowing, but now you need to be able to connect with this certain group so that you tell them in their own language. And then when you go to this other group, you need again to speak their own language. That way, people will be able to relate with what you're saying. But when you go with, you know, this is what I'm going to tell these people, you have already a predetermined plans of action, you will fail.
You will fail.
Yes.
Wow. So, wow. It's amazing. You just quickly taught us a lot in a minute. If you were to, you know, when you go to a community and have you ever been, because we need now a real experience. You've been into a place where there's is violent, you know, there's chaos, there's that there's no cohesion. Have you been in such a situation, and what did you do?
Yes, so many times. And this is not just within the urban slums, but even in rural communities. And it becomes very difficult. And that's now how, so when you realize, and I will not mention the community, but now when we go to a community or when we work through programs, we realize that there is a bit of rigidity from these people. There is a bit of, you know, they don't want us. This is when now you go through people like chiefs. This is when you have now to identify these people. And some of these things, they need to come from these people. Because as much as it's your message, you remember, it's not your message, it's the people's message. And so you need now to go to, you know, this kind of, you know, religious groups. You need to go through the chiefs. You need to go to, you know, the elders and stuff, and explain to them. And that's what we did mostly when we did participatory action research in the communities. There was a lot of, we don't want research. People come here, they use us, they go and publish this research somewhere, they get money and stuff. So we had to explain to them. And we actually told them, and some people actually asked for money. We told them, we want to recruit you people into this, and this is the reason we are doing this, and we don't have money. And so, you have an option. You can join or not, but don't expect money. And believe it or not, we had more than 20 young people from across the urban slums who said, I want to be part of this. And up to date, I was talking to one whose sister is vying. She's using the skills that we train her for campaigns through participation. We have another one who works in Majengo. Now he uses that to talk about, to fight, talk about terrorism, talk about violence, extremism. So he's bringing people together. So that is what we have been doing. So when you are able to not, and it still goes back to the stakeholders, and you're able to know what you want and how you want to pass this to the people. And then you'll be able to find these people coming back, even those who are pushing you away, who are blocking you. What are you saying? How can you be part of this? And other things. So that is very critical for.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you've been in it, and I'm still coming back to you.
Yeah.
What is your fulfillment when you come out of that and you are able to now to bring people back together? You're able to see these communities becoming back. There's cohesion. There's there's some level of sobriety. What gets into you?
I get peaceful. I just go home and say, I did it. And it's not even about money. Some of this work, it cannot, money cannot even buy whatever we do. Money cannot even pay for what we do. And so I just, there is that peace, that is that fulfillment and happiness that I was able to do this. And you'll even know it, that you have done something impactful when you have the peace in you. So that's what really,
the feeling of peace,
the feeling of
satisfaction.
Yes,
that you've done something for the community.
Yes.
I mean, that's leadership. That's leadership, because we think leadership is politics.
Most of the time.
Many people, actually, we have very many leaders who we don't even talk about.
Yes.
And they are doing greater work than the politicians themselves.
Yeah.
Because the politician is visible, he has the money, he has a clout, he has a crowd. He can hire crowds.
Yes.
But you see, you can't hire.
I don't have the money to hire a crowd.
You don't have the money to hire a crowd.
Yes.
You need to think about. Just talk about the impact. Let's talk about that. We're just shifting this. We cannot talk everything.
Yeah.
The impact of peace and security. Just imagine, you talked about 2007, 2008. Just that impact of peace. The security of a region. How it is impacted when peace is disturbed.
When there is peace, even when you get, and I use this, I use with practical example. When you get to like a house, like you have been invited to someone's house, when you get in, when you're conscious enough, you'll realize that this is a peaceful family.
Yes.
Or there is violence. The way people talk, the way the wife and the husband speak to each other, or even the way they, they relate to each other. And so just take that and scale it into, neighborhood, community, and a country. So there is, there is growth. There is growth. There is both personal growth of people, and there is the community growth.
Yeah.
And I've used about family. You see family flourishing. You'll see wanting to work together. You'll see them coming together. There are differences uniting them. There are differences bringing them together to do something. And so when there is peace and security, and we saw that during the handshake and what it did, that you'll go anywhere. And I was very surprised that, there is a time the president went to Kisumu, even, without the gatekeepers to Kisumu. And it becomes very interesting when someone else will go to, you have seen politicians or candidates who will not campaign in certain region going there freely. And it just tells you how much people, have come to embrace peace, or how much people are growing to embrace peace. And so that is very, very key. The other thing when it comes to security, and security is large.
Yeah,
it's large. Yeah, it's very big. Security sector is big because we talk about security forces, we talk about those who work with communities on security. You'll see, like I said, you'll be able to see a mirror of hope in that. You'll be able to see hope in that community. You'll be able to see hope in that setting when there is insecurity, and people will be able to talk about that. People will be able to say, okay, we have been able to reach this point because of 1, 2, 3. What can we do to improve this? Yes.
You're talking about security, so I wonder how do you take care of your security?
I don't need to take care of my security.
You don't need 10 men.
I don't need 10 men. Yes, I work. Sometimes we even leave our work at even 11, 12. The other day, one of our partner who we are really working with, and we are doing. And before I actually say that, people really think that when you talk about peace, you only need to talk about amani in terms of peace. Peace is there is diversity in peace. Yeah. So we have been involved with in a campaign called Anti-Jiga campaign that one of our partners, Inua Village Global Foundation, has been doing. And through those kind of campaigns in Vihiga County especially, which has a lot of cases of Jiga infestation. And through those kind of initiative, because even Jiga can bring violence. Jiga can bring intolerance, such things, sickness, and because you are troubled, you don't know what to do, so you become intolerant. Someone tells you, you need to sit here, you are all over and stuff. But when you start bringing community, and we brought communities together, in this village, in this community, in this in Vihiga County, and people are talking about peace. People are talking about how do we live together. And remember, we had gone to do treatment and all this and wishing. So you have to be able to know how to promote peace in every activity, in every work that you do. Peace.
And I've seen people use sports. I've seen people use medical camps.
Yes.
Just to bring people together. I think there are things that bring people together. When they are together, now you can discuss the issues.
Exactly. Yes.
I saw a community, 2 members of parliament in a certain community. They came together.
Yes.
You together with the security arms, together with the chiefs, together with the elders and religious organizations. They just decided this time, when we vote, nobody is going to bring chaos here.
Exactly.
And so we are holding ourselves accountable.
Yes.
To this matter. And now that you've told me you don't care about your security, we begin winding up again.
Yeah.
How do you, because this is a question that always comes up. It always comes up here. How do we have a lot of guys at home. Mostly people who finish school, I don't know why they stay in the house. And they say, there's no work. There's nothing to do. Oh, serikali saidia. What would be their role, just coming up and deciding, I'll go into the community and speak about peace? Or how would you help them? Because you do training and all that. Yeah. Just pick it up, and as you do that, I want you to look at the camera and just speak to someone. Tell them, imagine you're sitting there and your community will get into trouble, but you could have done something.
One of the things that I always say is that everybody has something to give. Even when you think that you don't have anything, there is someone who is worse than you. So you might think that you are jobless or you are like this, but there is something that you have. And it can be even just the way you walk, the way you sit, that people look at you and say, oh, I like the way this guy walks. I like the way this guy sits. I like the way this guy speaks. And you inspire them to just self-esteem. And so don't sit down or don't sit in the house and feel like you have nothing to give or feel like you failed in life. You are very instrumental to the development of your community. You are very instrumental to the well-being of your family and community. So you need to be able to identify that one thing that you can do. And self-reflection is very key. Take time to think about who you are. Identify who you are as a person and say, oh, I think I don't have all these things, but I can play football or I can play piano or this. Then get out and look for a space that can help you nurture that what you can be able to do. And like I said, peace building and being a peace ambassador is everyone's role. So start talking about that. Start talking about peaceful society. Start talking about coexistence. Start talking about cohesion in your own way. And young people like me, I know you always say that there is no work. There are a lot of opportunities for employment, self-employment, even for you to be able to nurture your own talent and use your talent and turn your talent into a business.
Wow. You just mentioned talents, and I think there's a young man I know. He used to play a very interesting instrument, the trumpet.
Yes.
And so he decided he's going to be teaching anyone available in the community to play trumpet. So he went somewhere, sat down, said, you want to learn? Come. What has happened is that now young children have become so attached to it. And now, he got some guys who donated. Guys just came and say, oh, I have this trumpet in the house. Not Muzungus.
Yes.
Locals. They say, I have this trumpet. This one says, oh, I can buy a trumpet. Oh, this one says. So now the children, he has an academy. Now they have brought in other instruments.
Nice.
From one guy.
Yes.
So like you said, everybody has something they can offer community.
Exactly.
And I think this time round we have to begin to ask ourselves that question, because we have everybody complaining. I remember men told us, if you have a problem with the dirt in your community, you are actually the problem.
Exactly. Not the city council, not the county council.
Because you see, if you're waiting for the county to come,
yes,
they have more work and they may not come in a hurry. So what can you do about it? And I think the famous statement, what people are asking what the government can do for them, is it Churchill who said that? Yeah, people are asking what can the government do for them. He says, now you need to ask yourself, what can I do
exactly
for my community? Yes. Because I'm looking at some of the projects that have come up. There's this tennis star, this tennis star. She comes from Kibra, Sahlim.
Yeah.
She just started training with a guy there. Now she went, her story is on that. You can go and check it out.
Yes.
She's doing very well, playing international matches from Kibra.
Yes.
Tennis. Now the children in Kibra have begun playing tennis.
Exactly.
Because they've seen, this thing can. And I like what the mother said. The mother said the day she started playing tennis, she stopped these bad behaviors, meeting in groups.
And you can imagine.
And the young boys started going to play tennis. And now crime in that area. Just a little activity. It looks very, very minimal.
Yes.
Can remove a major thing out of a community.
Exactly.
Can you imagine? Tennis has removed crime.
Yes.
In a crime that was infested for some time.
Yeah.
Now, you can walk in there at night.
She has rescued so many people. She might not have rescued a whole community, but she's, so many people are looking up to her. She's become a role model, and you'll find that so many young girls now want to be like her.
It's true, because I think sports is a major thing.
Yes.
And I remember even Dallas here. You know Dallas here. Dallas, there's a guy who started just training boxing. All the guys who were mugging guys began to play boxing.
Yes. Yes.
They forgot even, the time they are boxing, they get so tired, they go to sleep, so they don't go to mug.
Exactly.
So he said by that, when the people began, committing to boxing and all that, what happened is that when they began now going to play matches, going out into the country, they began to see, I can make money with boxing.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a time in this country we had a lot of boxers from Eastleigh and Dallas.
We actually had a lot of these social halls where people now, boxers and some people will go to practice.
And karate.
Yes, and karate. And I think what we just need in this community setup is, those infrastructure, those facilities, and having the right people to be able to guide us. Because that way, then you'll find the issues of crime, the issues of unemployment. People start coming up, like this young lady from Kibra. Does she need to be employed? No. She found her own way to earn a living. So, and those are the things that we need to be able to do as and that's what we always say as peace ambassadors, that find something that can make you forget that what you are used to. And that something need to be positive, that can bring you, if it's income that you're looking for, find income through your talent and other areas. Yes.
We need to begin to start landing this plane. After politics, will still be there. And do people see beyond? Because we are dealing like this is it. If we don't get this, this is it. But after the elections, we'll still meet with each other.
Yeah.
And we have to continue with life.
Yeah.
The politician you are fighting for may be seated in a high office.
Yes.
And you may never see them. Or may have failed, and that will not change where you are. So who is the real change here?
The real change is the voter.
The real change agent.
The real change agent is the voter.
Yes.
Because, and like you said, most of the time people don't see beyond election. And you realize that immediately after election, that's when people say, oh my God, we just brought back that same guy, or we brought in a bad person. So the real change agent is the voter, is you. So no politician can never be the change that you want. You are the change that you want. And you have to identify the right person. The right person. You'll be responsible where this country will be as a voter. Because we will not shift blame and start saying we have bad politicians. No. These bad politicians come from those communities. So those communities have voters. They did not vote themselves in. So identify the right person and vote them in.
They never voted themselves. They only have one vote.
Yes.
Maybe they
and sometimes they don't even vote for themselves. So you are the one who have been fighting for them. You are the one pushing them, So get the right person. Like you said when we started, get someone in the community who have been doing amazing work. And say, I think you need, and have an agreement, have a MO. You sit down and tell this is what we want as a community. And we are taking you there.
I saw in Mexico, a member of parliament,
yes,
he was recalled by the people. Okay, then they are very harsh.
Yes.
They tied him to a tree and they really canned him. I said, we sent you to do A, B, C, D. Yes. You have not done.
You have not done.
So you will not continue. And then they put him on the string and they canned him. We don't have to, but I think our constitution has mechanisms to recall back some of these guys and tell them back, you cannot. Miriam says you're a great peace ambassador.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's very impressed by you.
Thank you.
And we thank God for her. I'm always asked this other question. Do you offer mentorships?
Yes. Through the Emerging New Communities, we do a lot of mentorship. For example, right now, we have a group that we are mentoring, and sometimes you don't have to have done peace building as a course. So you are a communication person, you are in fashion, you are in anything, and you are interested in the work that we do. So we have mentorship, we have online, so we organize online sessions on a weekly basis, we organize just meetings, and that's why I told you we partner with organizations. So for example, when we partner with this organization, as much as I'm coming, for example, to do my communication consultancies, we have to be able to have a caveat that talks about conflict. How do you even resolve conflict in those kind of spaces? So we offer mentorship to organizations, we offer mentorship to schools, universities, and individuals. Yes.
Wonderful. Because those questions are always comes, and I'll get a call after this and say, well, that guy, that gentleman, how can I contact him and all that? Because I'll also give you an opportunity to to market Reemerging Communities.
Thank you.
Because I believe you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
In fact, my friend told me this guy is revolutionary.
Thank you. Thank
You are the people who should, and this is not to flatter you anyway, it's to say you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So
I
I want you
appreciate
to take a minute, just talk about Reemerging and how you can help.
So Reemerging New Communities, just like any other organization, our core work is to see that we have a peaceful country, a peaceful society. And you can, learn about our work by going to our website, www.rncommunities.org, or on our social media. We have opportunities where you can partner with us through the children-led community peace labs. We organizing peace residencies. We have research, because most of our work comes from evidence. So we do research, and mostly participatory action research, and we use this now to come up with intervention. And you have this opportunity to work with us. You have this opportunity to partner with us. We partner with schools, we partner with the religious organizations, we partner with civil society, government, and other like-minded individuals and organizations. And for us, we are a platform. So when you come in, you come with the idea and say, can we implement this? So we facilitate those kind of conversation, and we are highly collaborative. We are a collaborating organization, and we always appreciate and welcome new ideas that can, transform and scale up our work. Yes.
Great. So that's Reemerging New Communities.
Yes.
You're a good marketer.
Thank you. Thank you.
This will be like my last question. Because we need to call our people to peace.
Exactly.
How the economy is affected. And I'm not talking about the economy at KRA or just the economy of a normal person, how it's affected when peace is missing. Yeah.
So do I?
Yeah. Because you see, if I had my small business,
yes,
and we start fighting, it's closed.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So I suffer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. My friends, this election, this 2022 election is just like any other election. It will come and go. But when there is no peace, your business will go down, and you might not,
your job.
Yeah, you might not continue. I see during political rallies, people have to close their shops, people have to close their businesses because of rowdy young people or other things, that kind of things. So one thing I need you to be able to do, please vote with your heart and not your mind. Know what is at stake. I like someone who I had saying this morning that, you have a responsibility, and that responsibility, don't transfer it to anybody else. You have a responsibility to vote in the right person. So when you vote in a wrong person, you'll have the responsibility to keep up with that wrong person. So let's get the right people in our offices. And also, if you are a prayerful person, whether Muslim or whichever religion, you need to be able to do the right thing. You have the power to hire and fire these politicians. So hire the right person and fire the wrong people. Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah, very interesting. So, do you have a parting shot?
Parting shot is, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. Kenya, it's a very wonderful country. Kenya is a very wonderful country. When Moses said, when you go out of this country, that's when you realize how wonderful this country is. And so we don't have any other country. People from other countries within the region, when they come to Nairobi, they actually say they have reached New York of Africa. So let's take care of our communities. Let's take care of our neighborhood. Let's take care of those, the plots and where we live. Let's be clean. Let's tolerate each other. Let's love each other. Let's be able to be ambassadors of peace through everything you're doing. You are a garbage collector. You are, those security guys in the community. You are that guy who cooks, sells mandazi. in the streets, any person that you're a kinyozi, make sure that this hustle or this work that you are doing has or is promoting peace and cohesion. Thank you.
I could not say it better.
Thank you.
I have to thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, short notice and quick response.
Thank
you very much. Remember, this Elevate is going to be here.
Thank
Just
you.
if you feel we can help in the peace building,
Yeah.
please organize and let us know.
Thank you so
That
much.
has been all we could give today. This has been Elevate Morning Digest Edition, Wednesday edition. This is Elevate Television, advancing kingdom lifestyle. Keep it elevate. We are doing great things. Remember, by the way, as you follow Elevate and you make it one of your best, great things are coming. Just keep it there. And remember, we are promoting peace. Become the ambassador. God bless you.